Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of the most influential yet often overlooked weapons in the early history of modern air combat, the Israeli Shafrir missile. At a time when Israel was still shaping its identity as a regional power, the Shafrir project didn't just give the nation a homegrown air-to-air missile, it gave Israel an edge that would set the foundation for decades of aerial dominance. In this detailed breakdown, we'll explore how the missile was developed, why it became so crucial for the Israeli Air Force, and how it helped shape the broader evolution of air combat in the Middle East. The goal is to understand not only what the Shafrir missile was, but why it mattered at a strategic, technological, and psychological level during a period when Israel's survival depended heavily on its air superiority. The story begins in the late 1950s and early 1960s, a time when Israel was searching intensely for self-reliance in military technology. After facing repeated embargoes and unpredictable alliances, the leadership recognized that depending solely on foreign suppliers would leave the nation vulnerable. The Shafrir missile program emerged from this context. It was an ambitious idea, a domestically produced infrared-guided missile that could reduce dependence on foreign technology while giving Israeli pilots a reliable weapon built around the specific realities of Middle Eastern combat conditions. Developing such a weapon was a massive leap for a young defense industry, but Israel had already begun to establish a reputation for rapid innovation under pressure. The first version of the missile, Shafrir 1, was created with the intention of giving Israel a modern short-range air-to-air missile similar to those used by major powers. However, the missile faced challenges, accuracy issues, limited maneuverability, and reliability problems. Despite these shortcomings, its real value wasn't in its battlefield performance but in what it represented, a technological foothold. Israeli engineers had now begun mastering sensors, propulsion, and guidance systems. The experience they gained building Shafrir 1 laid the foundation for more advanced designs. Even though it didn't see widespread, successful combat use, the lessons learned from Shafrir 1 became the blueprint that would allow Israel to create one of the most successful air-to-air missiles in its early history. This brings us to Shafrir 2, the version that truly changed the game. By this time, Israeli engineers had refined nearly every aspect of the missile. The improved infrared seeker drastically increased the chances of locking onto a target, even in the harsh heat-dense environment of the Middle East where ground and atmospheric temperatures were often obstacles for early IR-guided weapons. The missile also became more maneuverable, making it capable of handling the fast and agile fighter jets used by Israel's adversaries. Reliability increased significantly, and the missile became a trusted weapon for pilots flying missions in extremely high-pressure environments. Shafrir 2's combat performance quickly proved what Israeli engineers had achieved. Its introduction came during a period of intense conflict in the region, where Israel was engaged in large-scale air battles and needed a dependable missile capable of delivering results consistently. The missile became a key contributor to Israel's air-to-air kill record, establishing itself as a weapon that pilots genuinely relied on in close-range engagements. At a time when dogfights were fast, chaotic, and unforgiving, having a weapon that responded reliably and locked onto targets effectively was invaluable. The success of Shafrir 2 wasn't just technical, it was psychological. Enemy pilots knew they were facing an air force equipped with a missile that didn't hesitate, didn't falter, and didn't depend on external suppliers who might cut off support at any moment. One of the most important aspects of the Shafrir missile program was the way it strengthened Israel's doctrine of air superiority. Israel's military strategy relied heavily on controlling the skies. With limited manpower and geography that left it vulnerable to rapid attack, the Israeli Air Force had to compensate through technological and tactical excellence. Weapons like the Shafrir missile enabled Israeli pilots to operate with the confidence that they had an edge in aerial engagements. This wasn't just about raw performance, it was about tailoring tools to actual battlefield realities. Israeli engineers worked closely with pilots, gathering feedback after missions and refining the missile continuously. This tight loop of operational experience and rapid technological improvement became a hallmark of Israel's defense industry. The missile also played a crucial role in Israel's broader effort to create a sustainable, innovative military industry. Shafrir wasn't just a missile, it was a stepping stone. By successfully completing the Shafrir project, Israel proved that it had the capability to develop advanced missile guidance systems, propulsion units, and sensors. This expertise would later be crucial in developing more advanced missile families, including the Python series, which became internationally recognized and adopted by air forces around the world. In many ways, Shafrir was the beginning of Israel's rise as a global leader in missile technology. It was the foundation upon which international export success was eventually built. Another impactful element of the Shafrir missile was the way it influenced the balance of power in the Middle East. During the 1960s and 1970s, the region saw rapid militarization, with many neighboring nations receiving cutting-edge Soviet aircraft and missile systems. Israel's access to advanced Western weapons was often uncertain due to political pressures and shifting alliances. By producing its own advanced missile system, Israel gained something even more valuable than military capability: independence. The ability to arm its own fighter jets without depending on foreign approval or shipments transformed Israel's strategic position. It meant that even during tense political moments or embargoes, the Air Force could maintain its operational readiness. When examining the impact of the Shafrir missile, it's also important to consider how it shaped pilot mentality. A fighter jet is only as effective as the pilot's confidence in the tools at their disposal. Israeli pilots were known for their aggressive, high-skill dogfighting techniques, and having a missile they trusted allowed them to push their aircraft to the limits. Shafrir 2 in particular became synonymous with effectiveness. Pilots flying Mirage IX and later other aircraft platforms integrated the missile into their tactics so naturally that it became a core part of Israel's close-range engagement philosophy. Many pilots described the missile as dependable and responsive under conditions where split-second timing meant the difference between survival and disaster. Beyond its military implications, the Shafrir missile carries symbolic importance. It represented a nation building its own technological future at a time when its existence was far from guaranteed. Each successful interception, each confirmed aerial victory, was a demonstration not just of engineering but of national resilience. The missile's evolution from a flawed first generation to an extremely effective second generation also reflects Israel's broader model of defense development: start small, learn fast, iterate, and innovate relentlessly. This approach has defined much of Israel's military advancements over the decades. As the years passed and the Python series replaced the Shafrir in frontline service, the legacy of Shafrir remained strong. It wasn't just phased out and forgotten, it became part of the historical identity of the Israeli Air Force. The missile served as a technological bridge between the early years, when Israel was scrambling to survive, and the later years, when it established itself as one of the most advanced air forces in the world. Many of the engineering principles, design philosophies, and combat lessons learned from Shafrir directly influenced the creation of much more advanced systems that continue to serve Israel today. Reflecting on the Shafrir missile is also a reminder of how innovation is often driven by necessity. Israel didn't begin the Shafrir project because it wanted to compete globally or showcase high-tech capabilities, it began because it had no choice. The threat environment demanded self-reliance. The region offered no time for delays. When survival is at stake, innovation becomes a natural response. Shafrir is a perfect example of how urgent need can create breakthroughs that not only solve immediate problems but also shape the future of military technology for decades. Looking back, the Shafrir missile stands as one of the earliest examples of Israel's defense innovation philosophy. It was a project that combined ambition, tactical need, engineering creativity, and a deep understanding of the combat environment. By examining its development and impact, we're not just learning about a missile, we're understanding the beginning of Israel's journey toward becoming one of the world's most advanced defense technology producers. The missile's success proved that even a small country with limited resources could compete at the highest levels of military technology. So when we talk about Israel's early air superiority edge, the Shafrir missile is one of the core reasons behind it. It gave pilots a dependable weapon, the Air Force a strategic advantage, and the country a pathway toward technological independence. Its legacy continues in modern Israeli missiles, in global export success, and in the tactical doctrines still used by the Israeli Air Force. And most importantly, it remains a symbol of how innovation under pressure can shape the outcome of conflicts and the destiny of nations.